If you've been doing your research into countertop water filters, you already know the pattern. Gravity filters are usually slow, and pitchers are convenient, but you're not always getting the performance you think you're getting. The Aquasana Clean Water Machine is different because it's pump powered. You fill the tank, press a button, and it dispenses filtered water like a little countertop faucet. So in this review, I'm going to show you exactly how it performed in my lab testing with Colorado tap water, what it did well and what it didn't do, and then I'll show you how it scored in my data-driven scoring system so you can decide if it actually makes sense for your home. And if you like seeing products lab tested and reviewed based on real data, like this video to let me know I should keep making more product review videos like this one. The Aquasana Clean Water Machine is a plug-and-play countertop filter that uses Aquasana's Clarium filter cartridge. And if you've looked at Aquasana before, you've probably seen Clarium show up in a bunch of their products, which is their patented technology that combines 4 methods of water filtration. What makes this unit unique in the countertop water filter category is the electric pump. Most non-RO countertop filters I test are gravity fed, meaning you pour water in, then wait for it to drip through into a lower chamber. Here, you fill up the tank, plug it in, press a button, and the water is pushed through the filter and out the spout on demand. It has a cylindrical tank on the back that holds 64 ounces of unfiltered water, and the spout is tall enough that you can fit a normal glass or a taller bottle underneath without doing that weird sideways angle pour that spills water all over your counter. Let's talk cost, because like with all water filters, the upfront price is only half of what you need to consider. At the time of this review, the Clean Water Machine comes in at $399, but it's on sale for just $279.99. That puts it above a basic pitcher, but well below most countertop reverse osmosis systems and large stainless steel gravity units. Now for operating costs, Aquasana rates the filter for 300 gallons and replacement filters are $35. That works out to about 11 cents per gallon. So it's not the cheapest system I've ever tested in terms of upfront cost, but it's absolutely one of the more affordable countertop systems to run long term. Now, if you want to check the current price and see if they're running a discount, I've got it linked for you down in the description. Here are the key features that make the Aquasana Clean Water Machine unique. First is the pressurized pump-driven dispensing. That's the whole point of this machine. You're not waiting on gravity, you're pushing a button and filling your glass on demand. Second is the no install design. No plumbing, no adapters, no dedicated faucet. It just requires an electrical connection. Third is that it uses one single Clarium filter cartridge. So you don't need to manage multiple stages, multiple filter schedules, and multiple part numbers. And finally, it has a filter change indicator that changes color when it's getting close and then again when it's time to replace. Now here are the big pros that stood out to me while testing this unit, and the biggest one is performance confidence. This is one of the rare countertop filters I've tested that's extensively certified for every one of the 78 contaminants they claim it can reduce. And that matters because it proves what the unit can do beyond the results of my single lab test with my specific water. Second, it provided strong contaminant reduction in my testing with things like chlorine, heavy metals, and other inorganics, without introducing any new surprise contaminants post-filtration. And third, ownership is just plain easy. Setup is quick, maintenance is simple, and the operating cost is reasonable. Now, for the downsides, because there are a few, and whether they matter depends on what you're trying to solve. First, it didn't significantly reduce fluoride in my testing. Now, it's important to note that fluoride reduction is not something Aquasana claims for this model, and I'm not saying that it failed or anything. I'm saying that if fluoride is one of your main reasons for buying a filter, this isn't the right technology for the job. Second, while it's faster and more convenient than a lot of gravity systems, the filtration speed itself still isn't what I'd call high output compared to other pressurized systems. And third, it's a mostly plastic design with a plastic water tank and spout, which I know is a deal breaker for some people, especially if you're trying to minimize plastic contact as much as possible. All right, now let's talk about my lab testing, how exactly I tested it, what showed up in my water, and how the Aquasana Clean Water Machine performed. Like with all my tests, I collected 2 samples. A baseline before sample of my unfiltered tap water, and an after sample that was dispensed from the Aquasana Clean Water Machine itself. To keep the test as consistent and fair as possible, I used my standardized sampling method. I filled a clean bucket with tap water, then swirled it around to make sure it was well mixed, and collected the pre-filtration sample from there. Then I filled the clean water machine tank with the water from the bucket, and then dispensed the post-filtration sample from the unit by turning it on. It's not as convenient as taking the baseline sample straight from the faucet and then the other from the filter, but it reduces variance and gives me confidence that I'm comparing apples to apples. I use TapScore for all my lab testing projects because they are hands down the best testing service I've found. It's not only the most thorough analysis, but they have the most in-depth, detailed, and easy to use reports as well. I'll drop a link to the test kits I used in the description if you want to see what's in your water. So for the data analysis and comparisons, I like to evaluate contaminants against human health guideline levels, not just the EPA maximum contaminant levels. The reason is that while the MCLs are enforceable legal limits, they're established to consider not only human health risk, but also to balance that with what water utilities can achieve at scale. Health-based guideline levels, which I'll refer to as HGLs on the other hand, are more conservative and consider potential human health risk alone. Also, chlorine is one of the few things I test on site with a strip because it's volatile and not reliably captured in a lab sample. In my baseline sample, 10 health-related contaminants were detected, and 2 of them exceeded their health guideline levels. The first was uranium, detected at 0.032 ppm, above the HGL of 0. The second was fluoride, detected at 1.4 ppm, which exceeded the HGL of 0.799 ppm. Beyond that, several other contaminants were detected below their respective HGLs, things like sulfate, zinc, strontium, molybdenum, barium, nitrate, phosphorus, and copper. And my on-site chlorine strip indicated the unfiltered water was right around 1 ppm chlorine. After filtration, the results were actually pretty strong for a non-RO system. Several contaminants were completely reduced to below the reporting limit, including barium, copper, uranium, zinc, nitrate, phosphorus, and strontium. The chlorine test strip also showed 100% chlorine reduction. A couple other contaminants were reduced, sulfate by about 42%, molybdenum by 83%, and fluoride was reduced by just 14%. Now, that's not actually surprising since this system is not designed nor certified to remove fluoride. If fluoride is one of your top concerns, you'll want to consider reverse osmosis, not a carbon and cation exchange filter like this. The Clean Water Machine also had a pretty significant impact on water chemistry and parameters. After filtration, carbonate increased, going from 0.18 ppm to 4.6 ppm, a 2,455% increase. Bicarbonate also increased by 27% from 98.37 to 125.5 ppm, and the pH increased from 7.6 to 8.9. And even if you don't care about pH from a health perspective, because pH is generally considered an aesthetic parameter, it can absolutely affect taste for some people. And at the same time, the filtered water was also softened. Total hardness dropped by nearly 89% from 94.94 ppm down to about 10.69 ppm. That was driven by a 95% reduction in calcium and about a 70% reduction in magnesium. And then sodium did the opposite, increasing by 452%, going from 10.7 ppm to 59.1 ppm. So when we see calcium and magnesium drop while sodium increases, it strongly suggests that there's a cation exchange process happening where hardness minerals are being swapped for sodium. So the big takeaway is that yes, it's retaining minerals and not stripping water like RO does, but it's clearly changing the mineral profile in a noticeable way. Whether that's good or bad depends on your specific priorities. Some people like softer water while others don't want sodium increased, especially if they're on a low sodium diet. Now let's connect all that back to my scoring system. This is where I'll quickly show you the top level scores and why the Clean Water Machine earned an 8.4 overall. In the contaminant reduction category, it got a 7.86. This score is driven by 2 things: real world performance in my lab testing and official performance certifications. In my lab test, it performed strongly on multiple health-related contaminants, including removing uranium, but the score was unfortunately pulled down because the fluoride in the water remained above the HGL post-filtration. Now, that said, it did score a perfect 10 in the performance certification subcategory. This unit is certified for all 78 contaminants listed in its performance datasheet. That's actually really rare. Most filters claim they can address a long list of contaminants, but only certify for a small subset or don't certify at all. It got an 8 in the filtration rate category. Here we measured it as providing filtered water at 0.5 GPM and was scored accordingly for pressurized pump-driven systems. In the design category, it got a 9.4 because the unit is simple, sturdy, and backed by legit material safety certifications. It's certified for material safety as part of its performance standards, and it also has NSF 372 for lead-free design. Setup is one of the easiest I've tested, which earned it a 9.5 in this category. You install the filter, wash the tap water tank, and run one flush cycle that takes just 59 seconds. No long priming process, no emptying and refilling tanks 5 times. You're basically up and running in just a couple of minutes. In the maintenance category, it scored 9.75. It has a filter change indicator light that blinks when it's getting close to replacement time, and then again when it should be changed. And the ongoing cost of replacement filters is low, at just 11.7 cents per gallon. Aquasana lands in the fair range in the company category where it scored 8.2. You get a 1-year warranty, which is pretty standard. They may cover shipping costs for select order types, and in many cases, expedited shipping is available if you're willing to pay extra. Returns are 90 days, which is solid, but there are some important stipulations. You're responsible for return shipping costs, you're responsible for insuring the product during return shipping, and this return offer only applies if you purchase directly from Aquasana, not a third-party seller like Amazon. So who would I recommend the Aquasana Clean Water Machine for? If you want a countertop system that's super easy to use, has strong third-party certifications for things like chlorine and chloramines, PFAS, microplastics, lead, pharmaceuticals, and pesticides and herbicides, this is one of the strongest non-RO countertop water filters I've tested. It's especially good for renters, folks in apartments, or anyone who just doesn't want to install something under the sink. But if fluoride is one of your top priorities, then this unit won't work because it's not capable of nor certified to reduce fluoride. You also might think twice if you're on a low sodium diet, because this one adds sodium to the filtered water. In either of those cases, I'd recommend a countertop reverse osmosis system instead, so stick around and watch the next video coming up right now to find out which are the best I've tested. Click or tap to keep watching.